Hello and welcome again to VW Feasts. I'm Simple Ian and today we're going to be cooking sweet and sour pork. Many of you may have had sweet and sour pork at really dodgy English takeaways, but this is something completely different. So obviously the pork, pineapple, white vinegar, got some baking powder, and for Jeremy you can't get that in Germany. Cornflour, that's actually Waitrose own, ketchup, some plain flour, Leon Perrin sauce, and then ginger, garlic. First thing we're going to do is just to marinate the pork. So we've put the bicarbonate soda, garlic, pinch of salt and a couple of teaspoons of water into a bowl, and we're going to put the pork into it, and that's just going to help break it down and just make it a little bit more tender when we come to cook it. You may be familiar with shoe leather inside huge claggy lumps of batter. And let me assure you this is going to be something quite different. Set that aside 45 minutes, and meanwhile we're going to make the batter. So to the bowl we add some, to the flour we add some baking powder, bicarbonate soda, salt and pepper, and we're slowly going to whisk in 200 ml of cold water. You need to keep beating that in quite firmly. You don't want big, thick, lumpy, claggy mess. You want to get it down to quite a creamy consistency. So as the virtual wife beats that through, and then eventually gives up and hands it to me, we can see that slowly you're turning it into a nice batter. Through the magic of television, from hers to mine. So as you can see, the consistency is a beautiful creamy batter now. So now we have made the sauce quickly. We're adding the corn flour, white wine vinegar, Worcester sauce, tomato ketchup and water, mixing that into a nice sauce and then just leaving that aside. Ketchup gives it a sweetness as well as the tomato, but this isn't too sweet. You don't want something that's really sweet. You want just that nice balance between the sweetness that you get from the pineapple and the tomato and the sourness of the vinegar you put in. So, take our pork, and first of all we're going to poach it. Again, just start off the cooking process. So the technique here is that into a pan of boiling water, put the pork, keep it moving so it doesn't stick to the bottom and burn on the bottom. And then once it's come back to the boil, we're going to remove the pork. And there you are, you see it's coming back up to the boil. So now we're just going to rescue that pork from there. Because there's a little bit of scum in there, you're going to start to see that, if you don't turn it down, will froth over. Whoops! Right, we're going to let that cool down a little bit and then put the baking powder into the batter mix, and then we're going to put the pork in just to make sure each piece is completely coated. It's tempting to throw all of them in at once. You really want to make sure they don't just stick together. But care has to be taken here to make sure that they're all evenly coated in this batter. And then to the fryer. So on a very hot oil we're going to put the coated pork into the oil. And the VW says that there's a technique here that if you leave it dripping you end up with a tail which is unattractive. Now I disagree, because that tail turns into a free-floating bit of cooked batter, or scraps as we used to say up north, or batter bits. Obviously not a traditional Chinese part, but for northern chip shop farers like me, an essential part of any meal. Making sure it doesn't stick to the bottom of the basket. Just going to cook it for a couple of minutes the first time, and then take it out, drain it off. So once you've all cooked them once, get the oil back really hot again, and then cook them for a second time. You get them to that nicely golden colour. Well, of course, I have a glass of wine at this stage. As you can see, they come to a lovely golden colour. So back onto the kitchen towel, let those drain off. Gotta be careful though if you leave them out, because someone may want to try some. Those look so nice, I could almost... Ow! Right for the sauce. So into hot oil, put some ginger, cloves of garlic, and then fry that until it's golden. And we're going to add the rest of the sauce ingredients in until it's glossy. Stirring it again in case it's settled out. And bring that back up to the boil. We've got it really hot, we're going to add back in the pork. The pineapple. Give that a good stir around, really just to coat everything now. We've gone from one to the other, so it should still be nice and hot. And then serve with some jasmine rice in this case. Beautiful, light, sweet and sour pork. Enjoy.